Je prendrai position le premier. Je vais obliger les Russes et les Autrichiens à livrer bataille là où je l'aurais décidé.
Nous occuperons les hauteurs, bien sûr.
Je vous reconnais bien là, Colincourt. Parce que vous êtes marqué que vous ne pouvez pas vous empêcher de vouloir toiser les gens de haut.
Reculez. Encore?
Non, juste de quoi laisser l'adversaire s'enfoncer dans le piège, car c'est bien d'un piège qu'il s'agit.
Ça a l'air tellement simple.
C'est simple. C'est pourquoi c'est un para.
I guess every generation, parents have always wanted to make life better for their children.
Whatever I am, it came from the family.
People will make great sacrifices.
The parents had to work very hard for what they had. It was a large family.
Joe had to take care of Pat and Bill, and David took care of me.
Some things I got from my father, but Mama did all the work, really.
She instilled that into her 5 boys, you know, to instill that in their family, how important the Catholic faith and education was.
This means they have to sacrifice some things to make sure that their children get those things.
Mama said to me, Patrick, you're going to Ryan, mind your manners, do as you're told, and don't bring shame to the family.
My father Hitchcock taught me English senior year. He hired me. It was a job, and I was teaching at Ryan. I just really went day by day by day by day. I didn't think about the future, how I'm going to be here, and anything like that. It was just here at Ryan. I was enjoying myself. First, I taught whatever they had me teach. I've taught English, theology.
Monsignor Hitchcock asked me if I wanted to teach, and I said, sure. And I taught, at the time, I taught history, and I loved history. I taught Latin, theology.
It was always the kids. They were just, they always did what I asked them to do. And I got to coach, and I loved coaching when I was young. Especially I like football because, like I said, it's a beautiful fall day. It's nothing better than that.
And history has to be interesting because people are interesting. So you talk about people, and that's what I did. It was never institutions, it was always individuals, and that's how I did it.
Both Jim and Pat see teaching as a ministry. So being present for young people is more than just about delivering information. It's about helping them form into young men and women.
They loved people. They loved the students.
When I first came here my first year, Pat was my department chair. And I was nervous because I had never taught high school. And I had studied and prepared all this material for my church history class. And I was talking to him about it, and he looked at me and he said, Sarah, we just need to know. 5 years from now, they're not going to remember anything we taught them about church history. But what they will remember is how we treated them.
And I remember Pat's class was a lot of fun. He would play games and do lots of extra credit. And he made it learning religion funner than probably should have been.
Pat doesn't realize how much he has helped students.
You know, growing up, he always said, Joe, if you have a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's never been truer than for that man.
Jim Langdon was our football coach, and I remember one time at practice I'd fumbled a snap and the defense fell on it, and I immediately went into this grand demonstration to show everybody in the world how upset I was. When I was done, Jim kind of pulled me aside and he goes, you know, Bill, in a game, if something like that happens to you, rather than doing something silly like that to draw attention to yourself, just understand that everybody in the stadium already knows you screwed up, and you best just pick yourself up and move on. So that was how we, you know, kind of interweaved life into football, and I appreciate that lesson on humility and perseverance.
The value of team, reliance on others, the discipline that it took, the balance I had to achieve between work, school, and social events.
They've lived an exemplary life,
And when you do that, you pass a little bit on that, and I would definitely say to wind it up, they've definitely paid it forward.
So I think Father Ryan's students over the many years would testify that they were great influences in their lives.
So they're not the student's best friend, they're their best teacher.
The majority of the people on work crew, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
Well, this year it's been a combination of all of them.
I know I had Pat for detention regularly.
And back in our day, it was called work crew.
You could often parlay one detention into many detentions.
My last experience on the work crew was because of, in typing class, I skipped typing class.
When I told him why I was on detention, he heard the story and took the time to help you understand why you got it and why you were serving.
Seniors miss because of senior lunch and being late and skipping.
Our job was to pick up paper, so I picked up paper. I went out with them, and we walked around. I had a stick.
Pat was like, hey, you got to pick up this, pick this up. And he was a stickler for making sure that everything was picked up.
And sometimes those are good teachable moments.
Yeah.
That one-on-one.
Yeah, let's just say that he has consistently been here.
Never missed a day.
He's had people to come and tell him that their child has purposely gotten on work crew just so he could spend time on Saturday with Pat.
This is a gift to you to have this education, and that's something they like to instill in the students today.
Pat is referred to as Fat Pat, and Jim is referred to as Slim Jim.
Slim Jim, Fat Pat.
Fat Pat and Slim Jim.
That it was always Fat Pat and Slim Jim.
Slim Jim and Fat Pat.
My goodness.
I knew them when I was a freshman, when I had them both. I don't know and whether I would have had the gall to said them out loud, particularly to their face at that time.
And it's probably not politically correct.
Another nickname for Pat was Garbage, and that's because he would be eating lunch and arguing, and things would fall on his tie, and he'd have to pick up his tie and sort of try to wipe it off.
Personality-wise, they could not be more different.
They're polar opposites.
It's been fun having him. You have to watch his mouth out every now and then.
You know, Jim is quieter. He's got a great sense of humor, but he's certainly quieter and more disciplinarian.
A little more subtle.
Jim always had kind of a calm, easy way.
My dad's very soft-spoken.
Jim was a little more conservative.
More laid back.
We're not the same.
Pat is, his sense of humor is more on his sleeve.
Obnoxiously loud sometimes.
Pat a little more excitable in the classroom than Jim.
Pat is a very direct, forward person. I don't think there's ever been a thought that Pat had that we didn't know.
Pat has a tendency to get over exuberant and talk with his hands.
Gregarious, sometimes loud.
Of course, in the teacher's lounge, Pat and Jim are night and day. One will sit at one end, one will sit at the other, and they don't agree on their philosophies on life.
It might not start out as an argument, but it's going to end up as an argument.
But they would basically cancel each other out. And for all of us who got to watch it, it was a tremendous amount of fun.
He's my little brother. What can you say?
The ideal of two brothers.
I always know when Pat's running the popcorn because the fire alarm, smoke alarm goes off.
Of course, popcorn is always a big issue.
That first batch is something that he's famous for burning.
It was doing the boys' basketball game. It just so happens we were shooting a free throw. The fire alarm in the gym goes off. The lights flash and the buzzer going. It's Pat has burned some popcorn. If you could have seen Doug Bontrager's face when that fire alarm went off.
Father Hitchcock knocked on my door one day, introduced me to Nancy, and she's a grad student over at Vanderbilt.
Vous êtes seule, madame, et vous avez un gage. Je vous donne à choisir le premier venu. Invitez-le à danser. Et vous avez un gage. Invitez-le à danser. Je vous donne à choisir le premier venu.
Gage au roi, monseigneur.
Je vous invite. Voulez-vous être mon cavalier?
Gage payé. Dansons la glorieuse.
And I was teaching, and he says, Jim, this is Nancy Patton, and she's in education, and I'm going to put her in your class as student teacher. Well, I wasn't real thrilled with that. I didn't want a student teacher.
At the time, I sat there for about a month watching him teach. And my story is always that I fell in love watching Jim Langdon teach. Within almost a year after we met, we were engaged and married in August of 1970.
It's easy to point out their differences because they are such different personalities, but what is really the thing that inspires me about being around them is their similarities.
I think one thing that you notice about them is that it's about service.
It's got to be their interior, their character, what they wanted to do.
I can meet random people out and, oh, you went to Father Ryan? Yeah. Oh, my favorite teacher was Pat Langdon, or Jen, you know, and oh, well, that's my stepdad. Really? Oh my gosh, you were so lucky. Yeah, I am very lucky.
They're both also very loyal, dedicated people.
Both of them have the ability to see the good and find the good in those kids, and they are able to bring it out.
This event is for people who are more well-known, more famous, done more financially for the school and all that kind of stuff like that.
He kept saying, you know, can you believe that? They're going to have the Gala. Can you believe that? I said, yeah, Dad, I can actually. You know, you and Uncle James, y'all deserve it.
Have the opportunity to be honored, you know, after teaching here for so long. We all think it's well-deserved.
I think humbling. I think, you know, like John said, they're in awe, but yet I think it will kind of set in that and be able to reflect on their teaching.
To me, he's probably the foundation of this school. Him and Pat are down there at the very bottom supporting everything else.
It's a good thing that they're going to stand up there and be embarrassed and be honored and let everybody tell them how grateful we are for them. Jim is one of the most humble people I ever known, and he's, you know, he's really kind of embarrassed by it.
And those two have brought no shame to their family. Their kids have brought no shame to their family either. You know, they're outstanding in the community. They're great Catholic families in the Nashville community. Good part of the history of Father Ryan.
All I can say is their mama's going to be so proud that night. Their mama's going to be looking down and be so proud that night, because both of those boys sure did love their mama, and she's going to be really proud of them that night.
To me, you both have always had the ability to give us perspective and not lose a sense of the long-range purpose of our school.
I find you gentlemen who are admirable and give me great hope for the teachers to come.
I love you both, and thank you for sharing your lives with Father Ryan.
You taught me how to fight, how to never give up. You taught me how to win, but more importantly, you taught me how to lose. And for that, I'll be forever grateful.
It's leaders like you who modeled the saying, you will be known and you will be loved, long before it became part of our mission and value.
Appreciate your dedication all these years to the Ryan community.
We are just very proud of both of you, and Caroline and Matthew join us in just saying how much we love you, and we are so glad to be able to do this for you, and we love you very much.
Dad, Uncle James, proud of y'all and love you very, very much.
I congratulate you on this achievement and all the achievements that have come before. Congratulations, and most importantly, thank you.
And if there is a Mount Rushmore for Father Ryan, there's got to be a place for a Langdon on that wall.